All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shati from the Chicago camp coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this video is inspired by a new law that has been passed, and it's definitely going to affect a lot of UYNs and UYSs out there, because for some odd reason you all like to post your wickedness on social media, thinking it's funny, or how you being so bold and brazen about it that you're eventually not going to get caught and it's not going to be used against you. Well, check this video out.
Is effective immediately. Social media can double your prison time. Now, what are we talking about? Our Texas legislature passed several bills that are now in effect on a lot of these crimes, not all of them, but several of them. They have an enhancement, right, or an increased penalty range to add more prison time if social media is a part of it. So, drug dealing, for example, if somebody sells or purchases any kind of drug through social media, right? It doesn't have to be a post. It can be a DM or direct message. And that's found out a part of the investigation. The potential prison time can be doubled. So let's say it was originally a third-degree felony, which is 2 to 10 years in prison. Now, all of a sudden, social media is used as part of that transaction. We're not 2 to 10, we're 2 to 20 years in prison. New law in Texas effective immediately.
UYNs and YSs, you all are cooked. You all are cooked. Because you better believe this is going to go to other places too. All right. But Texas being the so-called red state, all right, and given this political environment, hey, this is further setting the groundwork of further entrenching you jakes, further trapping you jakes. That's what I meant to say. Okay. And we're going to play another video. I'm going to play another video that talks about a bill that's been passed that kind of includes some of this within it. I'm going to put this on pause and find it for you real quick. Okay, here's the video, and I have to correct myself. That law in Texas does not apply to this bill. However, it is just as draconian. I misspoke on that. Okay, so I'm just going to play a little bit of this video, and then I'm going to increase the caption and I'm going to read it, because in this video, he doesn't explain it. You actually have to go in and read it, and then what he says makes more sense. So let's let this video play and we'll continue.
13 days before SB 119 becomes law. And either I'm in another dimension or something, because I haven't seen one person talk about this bill that's about to go down. And many of you parents that's out there that are not paying attention, your children gonna be the first to go. Your child gonna be in the car with somebody that they don't know what's going to happen, what's about to happen. They're going to pull a gun out and they're going to shoot. And your child might not know nothing about it. But guess what's going to happen behind that? Everybody in the car getting charged with the same charge. There's no more circumstantial nothing. Like, they are really going to try to take our young people and hide them.
Okay. And this is what he's talking about. I'm going to increase the caption. And it says, SB 143 in Alabama 10 pain points for young black teens. It says expanded gang labeling. The bill broadens what counts as gang-related activity. For black teens, simply hanging out with friends in certain neighborhoods, wearing certain clothes, or being profiled by the police could trigger as gang classification. It says this label alone escalates charges and penalties even if no violent crime is committed. That means you're just guilty by association. We're making it legal for you to be guilty by association. Number 2, more teens tried as adults. SB 119 makes it easier to transfer juveniles into adult court. Says so-called black teens were not black, all right? We're different shades of brown. Well, we're just going to replace it with Israelites. Israelite teens are already 5 times more likely to be charged as adults in Alabama than Edomite teens for similar crimes. That's that draconian legislation. It says adult court means harsher sentences, adult prisons, and lifelong criminal records. So basically, even if you're a child and you are in that car, if you are in the house, or if you are remotely in a situation, like the man said, you could have no clue what the hell's going down. If you are there, you're all getting snatched up. Guilty by association. Can you imagine if you have an 8-year-old Jake in a house with some niggas and he has absolutely no clue what's going on? That 8-year-old is going to get snatched up with these other guys and be tried as an adult. Number 3, mandatory minimum sentences. Judges lose discretion to consider context, poverty, trauma, first-time offense. This locks kids into a long sentence for mistakes that could have been handled with rehabilitation. Israelite teens already overrepresented in arrests will be trapped in these mandatory minimums, meaning that the judge is not going to take into consideration that you did not know, that you do not have a criminal record, even if people vouch for you that you are not a gangbanger or you're not a dope boy or a stick-up kid. Even if people vouch for you, all these things will not be considered when it's time to hand out that judgment. They won't care how young you are. They won't care that maybe this is something that you can go to counseling for and be shown that there's a better way. Those things are not going to be considered anymore. Everybody's getting snatched up. Number 4, it says school to prison pipeline reinforced. It says SB 119 encourages schools to report gang or disruptive behavior to law enforcement. Israelite students in Alabama are suspended and expelled at 3 times the rate of Edomite students for the same infractions. This bill accelerates the funnel from classroom to courtroom. All right? If you see some say something, if they look suspicious, hey, tell somebody. All right? And it says that Jakes are expelled at 3 times the rate of their so-called white students. You know, this is when we have to get on a so-called touchy subject in the so-called black community. All right. And that's these little niggers, these little monsters coming from these single mother, single parent homes causing a ruckus. See, this is a very sensitive subject because we all know that the so-called black woman does not take accountability for any of her actions. offended at everything, ashamed of nothing. All right. And they live these lifestyles and they make these choices that causes them to repeat a cycle that's been going on for 4 generations. And when they have young boys, when they give birth to these young boys, they are basically on the outside, they are physically men, but on the inside, they're being raised as bitches. They're loud, they're prideful, they're emotional, undisciplined, uncouth. And that's a huge reason why they most likely get kicked out or expelled 3 times the rate as their Edomite counterparts. But that's a little side note. Let's continue. It says criminalizing poverty. Many of the behaviors tied to gang activity are linked to poverty. Loitering, basically just walking around, chilling out, ain't doing shit. Group associations, survival hustles. Instead of addressing root causes like lack of jobs, underfunded schools, or housing insecurity, SB 119 criminalizes poverty. Okay, it says Jake teens in poor communities will bear the brunt. Okay, which is true. We all know about redlining. We all know about the redistricting and the reallocation of lands to fit a certain narrative where they can channel funds to one area or increase the land of one good area and take away from the areas that are inhabited by Jakes. Okay, it says loss of rehabilitation opportunities. Juvenile court is designed to rehabilitate, adult court punishes. SB 119 strips away access to diversion programs, counseling, and second chances. It says for Israelite teens, this means fewer paths back to education and employment. But I guarantee you they're going to extend that consideration to the Edomite counterparts. How much you want to bet? Meaning that we're not going to set you up in a program where we can tell you and show you what's going on so that this behavior is never repeated again. Nope. Out the window. It's time to go. It says permanent criminal records. It says adult convictions follow teens forever. Israelite teens will face higher barriers to college admissions, jobs, housing, and even voting rights. One mistake at 15 could define their entire future. That's nothing new. Okay, harsher prison exposure. Being tried as an adult means young Israelite teens could be sent to adult prisons. This exposes them to violence, trauma, and hardened criminal environments. Instead of rehabilitation, it accelerates the cycle of incarceration. That means under this law, if you are found engaging or if you can possibly be seen or caught up in any situation that can be considered criminal activity or gang violence, or what was the word that he used up here? What's the word they used up here? Yeah, gang-related activity. I said that. You're going to jail. They snatching you up, you're going to jail. And you're going to be tried as an adult. And you're going to be put in a place with hardcore penitentiary-ass dudes. Number 9, it says generational impact. Well, we already know what that is. Silencing youth voices. Number 10, it says by criminalizing normal teen behavior and increasing surveillance, SB 119 sends a message. Israelite youths are threats, not children. This strips away their humanity and discourages them from fully participating in school, community, or civic life. Instead of being nurtured, they are treated as suspects from the start, which is nothing unusual. And it says SB 119 is not just a crime bill, It's a pipeline bill, one that widens the funnel from Israelite neighborhoods and schools straight into the prison system. It doesn't address the root cause of crime, which is this Edomite draconianism. All right. Poverty, lack of opportunity, systematic racism. Instead, it punishes youth for being poor jakes. And it says, for young jakes or Israelite teens in Alabama, this bill means more police encounters, more arrests, more adult charges, longer sentences, fewer chances for redemption. It's a law that treats Israelite children as criminals first and kids second. I have to correct that. It just treats them as criminals, period. You have to remember we're in a country that viewed us as 3/5 of a human being. Okay? And see, this is why the scripture says that yep, Isaiah 42 and 22. And it says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. Okay. And how are we primarily robbed and spoiled? We're primarily robbed and spoiled because we have been discontinued from our heritage. According to the book of Jeremiah, we have been discontinued from our heritage. And because of that, we don't conduct ourselves according to the regal standard of living, the way Yahweh Shem Yahushai directed us to do. Okay. And when we do not live by this righteous regal standard, we behave ourselves like the heathen, like the beast, who conduct themselves as animals, doing things that which the Lord clearly tells us not to do. And when we do them, he's very displeased in. So being robbed of our heritage has put us on the level of brute beast. Okay. And for this reason, we are spoiled. We are first and foremost put in captivity. All right. As spoken of, what's that in Baruch? And I'm going to get back to that Isaiah. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on for one moment. Here. Baruch 3 and 8. It says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers which departed from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So this is one of the main reasons how we're spoiled, because we're in captivity, being taken advantage of. All right. And one of the things that this devil is doing to take advantage of us is what's that one? How it says that I can probably send Psalm 94 and 20. And it says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? This is how this man also spoils us, by framing mischief with his laws, aka SB 119. This is how we are getting spoiled. This is how we are getting destroyed over here in Babylon the snake. And it says, verse 22 again in Isaiah 42 and 22, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. they are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. As the caption was explaining, all right, this prison system, this prison industrial complex that bad Uncle Esau has created, the majority of these prisons are filled with Israelites. Many people for non-violent offenses. We just gonna come out and say it, drug dealing. And as we saw in the caption, why are many of these jakes going toward drug dealing? Because they are in communities that are almost desolate of any and all opportunities or education that can uplift themselves out of that community to do something better. All right. We all know that this is by design. And when Jake falls into the trap, the system works in a way, as we read in the caption, to keep them trapped. And it says they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth. Right. This is all a plot to destroy Israelites, specifically the Israelite man. Okay, they set these things up in the hopes that they can have free slave labor. They are doing this all in the hopes that they can destroy future generations of Israelite men. And it says, and none delivereth. Right? Because once you're in this system, you're done. This is why so many Israelite men are repeat offenders. This is why so many Israelite men consider being out of prison just a break. They already know they're going to go back. They don't even make a big deal about it. They could probably get through doing a 7-year bid, come home, and they're like, hey, what's up, man? They're like, oh, shit, not much. Shoot, I'm out on break. That everybody who's, you know, the guys that he's around, they're going to know what he means by that. He's on break. So he doesn't know. He could be back next week, 2 weeks, a year, 2, 3 years. Who knows? What he knows and what his friends know is that, yeah, he's eventually going to be back in there. So they're in a situation where they can't be delivered. And it says, for a spoil, and none saith restore. Right. These Edomites are doing this, and they have no intention on saying, you know what? Maybe we should reconsider that this is a first time or offense, or you didn't know, or even if we did do this to you, we're not going to pay you back for all the years you lost. We're not going to say, hey, you know what? Have a lifetime of psychiatric counseling on us. However long it takes, that's what you can have. Nah, they're not trying to do that. They're trying to make it so that once they get your ass, they got you. Whether it be this SB 119 or that new law in Texas regarding social media, it doesn't matter. All this man's ways are grievous, and they are solely meant to destroy Jake. And see, this is why the scripture tells us, and this is probably longer than what it needs to be, but that's okay. Was it not as fools? Ephesians 5:15. It says, see then that ye walk circumspectly. All right. This is where we get the phrase, you got to walk with your head on a swivel. You constantly looking around. All right. Not only physically, but spiritually. It says, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools. Basically, not knowing. They don't walk around like everything is okay. Don't walk around as if you don't know shit and ain't none of this stuff happening. No. Don't walk around as a fool, but as wise. It says, redeeming the time, buying back the time. How do you do that? By coming back to your heritage and getting these law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, understanding your history, being the man that the Lord intended you to be. All right? This is how you buy back that time. It says, because the days are evil. These days are extremely evil because this devil is putting out this draconian legislation so that when shit really does get bad, the groundwork is already set for them to legally. I mean, they already railroad Jake. But see, in this case, they're going to be able to railroad you without any type of legal counteraction. It's going to be impossible. The only thing your lawyers will be able to do is see if they can get you somewhat of a reduced sentence. So yeah, this went on longer than what I expected, but nonetheless, I hope you all were edified. Till the next time, we're going to say Shalom.